So we now need to add to our insert. We want to insert the photo attribute as well. If they don't upload a photo, that's fine. The name will just be empty. So in our list of insert fields, we're going to include photo, and we'll create a photo parameter. Now here, we may or we may not bind. Actually, for now we'll want to bind it, sorry.
Yeah, what if the photo name is an SQL string?
The bound parameters filter check the SQL injection, so that's not a problem. That's what part of using bind parameter is designed to do.
No, I mean, you said you didn't want to bind.
So it'd be 100. Well, I'm just thinking about what we're going to do when we edit if they don't have a photo. Well, we'll try it like this. We may have to make a few changes. So we're going to add photo here, add colon photo to our list of parameters, and include the photo here. So I'm going to upload my save page, and then I'm going to want you to do a couple of other things. Now, our files are going to get saved to an images folder, so we're going to need to create that folder. So inside of my lesson 10, I'm going to create an images directory. That'll be blank by default. I'm going to upload my save page. And then what I want you to do is go on to Blackboard. And in lesson 10, I've given you 6 JPEGs in a zip file. So download this athlete headshot images folder. So download it to your computer and extract the files. Just put it in any directory on your local machine. So grab that file. It'll create, it's got 6 JPEGs, each one I have nicely sized at 600 by 600. So now we have to try this out. So I'm going to go ahead and click on New Athlete. So the first one I'll put in . So I'm going to put in a name that matches one of the images I gave you. I'm just making up an email address. So I'm going to browse to my photo, which is called vaughn.jpg. So I'm going to select this one and click open, and we'll see what happens. We should see 3 things happening. Hopefully, if when I click save, we can look in the images folder, and we're going to see a copy of that prefixed with my session ID. We should get a new record with Lindsey Vaughn inserted into the athletes table, and we should have the name of the photo included in the photo column from our bound parameter. So we'll have to check all 3 of these things. Okay, so I'll click save. So our record did get inserted to the database. That's good. That's a start. When we look in here, there's a copy of my image. So now the question is, do we have this full name in the database? That includes our session ID. So I'll go back to my database and click browse again. And now we can see that it did copy. Our bound parameter also included that photo. So that's good. I'm going to go in and add a few more. I'm going to add some more based on the photos. So you can make up the email addresses, it doesn't matter. So I'm going to upload this one, the Taves JPEG. So I've put in the athlete first name, last name. I've made up an email address for him. I've browsed to the JPEG that matches his last name. Now for the others, I've got 4 more. I want to create 6, but we can also edit some of the test ones we made before and try adding the photo here. Right? I already have, so I have an image for Jose Bautista. If I go in and click edit, we don't actually see the file. In fact, we won't show the file for any of them. So the first thing we want to do is on our athlete page, if we're editing, we want to show a small version of the photo, right? All the photos are 600 by 600. So here's, you know, that's full size. We obviously don't want to show it at that dimension. Be a little large on our page. So we maybe want to shrink these down a bit. Okay, we'll upload this one in a bit. So let's go back to our athlete page. We already have variables that are selecting the first name, last name, and email, and then we echo those variables into our text boxes, right? So our form's populated. When I click on any athlete, the form's populated. So down below, we want to show that image if there is one. So what would I do in here for that?
Just take the location.
Yep, so we'll create another variable. I'll call it photo. So this will read the photo name out of the database if there is one. So now down below, we want to evaluate whether our photo is empty. And if it's not empty, we'll show an image tag like we did on our save page. So down here, we can put on some PHP tags. So we will show photo if one has been saved. So if our photo variable is not empty, we can echo an image tag. So our photos will be in the images folder. And then we'll append on our photo name. And we could just give it an alt of equals, I don't know, profile photo.
You want to give a height?
We also want it at 600 by 600. We'll maybe specify the width as, let's say, 150 pixels. So that will scale the image to 150 by 150. We might want to tweak this a little bit, but this should generate an image tag if we have a photo found. So when I load my last two records, Lindsay Vaughn and Jonathan Taves, it should show their photos. If I load any one of the other ones, we shouldn't see anything here, because those original records that are already in my database, they don't have an attached photo. We may have to do a little manipulation of the formatting, but we can see how this comes out. So you upload the athlete page. So we get this photo. Not sure I'm very happy with where it is. I think I'll put it in a div. So if we look up either of these two, our photo shows up at 150 by 150. If I edit any other one, that just doesn't appear. So if this is the case, maybe around this, I will echo a div class equals. I'll try this. This should push it over. I'm just going to try it before you copy it. I'm not sure whether I'm going to like how that works. Okay, better. Yes, we could probably render it over there somehow. I don't have time to play around with all the Bootstrap classes I would need to figure out how to do that. So our photo shows up if we have one, and if we don't, we've got nothing. So now we need to modify our save page again, because right now this won't do anything, right? We've included the photo. Excuse me. We've included the photo in our insert, but we also need to include it in our update. Actually, I should ask, any questions about this so far before we go back to saving it for an update? Okay. Are you getting the image to show up when you click on edit? Is it visible on your page? To upload it, try it out, and make sure that if you click edit on one of the two new records, that the photo shows up for you. Question?
Can you go to the save athletes just where we did everything?
Here, up above.
Up above.
What if somebody attached, let's say, a stub, like a malicious file, to a legitimate picture, and they uploaded that?
How would you do that? I'm not.
How do you detect something like that? Do you have your security for files?
What do you mean? How would they attach it to a photo? I'm not following you.
Like, you can usually attach stubs to regular files.
I don't know the answer to that. So on our save page now, in our list of parameters for our update, we're also going to want to include let's think about this for a minute. We can include our photo here.
But what if they don't want?
But the challenge will be if they already have a photo and they don't want to re-upload it, then we're going to be wiping out their photo. So we need to take a minute and think about this.
Give another if statement, like if photo not empty, then post a photo.
Okay. We'll run it this way first to make sure we can upload the photo. But yeah, then we're going to have to keep in mind the scenario where the user's editing an existing record. They've already put a photo in and they don't want to change it.
Wouldn't we want to try and do it the same kind of way as we do the edits? Like we want, because when we edit, we kind of populate the fields with that stuff.
Yep.
What if we just had something that populated the location that we kept in the database, and it would just kind of carry it forward to here, so that the variable would kind of be set if they're already editing, if they didn't change it?
That's a good idea. That would work. So we can write the file name in a hidden field, and then if our photo is blank, we can just use that as a substitute.
Yeah.
Yep, that's a great idea. Let's try it this way first, just to make sure we can add a photo in, and then we'll need that to handle that condition as well. Okay. So I'm just going to add comma photo equals colon photo into my update. So just what you see in green needs to get added in here. So now we should be able to upload our save page. So I'll go ahead and upload my save page. So what I'm going to do is take one of my silly records that I did earlier, and I'm going to change it to a real athlete name. Because I have a picture of Alexis Sanchez, so I'll browse. I'll select the Sanchez JPEG, so same as the last name. So when I click save, hopefully it will change that record to all of those values, and my photo should get included here. Okay, so now if I go and edit, now I can see that photo that I uploaded. So this will work. The challenge is if I hit save now, what's going to happen? So let's say I put a bunch of ones in here. What will happen if I don't change my photo and hit save? What's going to happen to the photo? Yeah, it's going to wipe out the photo, right? Because my code is expecting to update it to whatever file I uploaded. So we'll have to deal with this. If I save and go back, I've wiped out the photo. We don't want to make somebody have to upload the photo if they're changing something else. So we need to take care of that scenario. So I can put my photo back. But now we need to take care of this scenario. Let's say I want to get rid of the ones in the name. I don't have to re-upload the file every time. The file should stay there unless I change it. Okay. So Daniel had a good suggestion. Let's go back to our athlete page. What we're going to do is add another hidden field with the existing photo name. So we'll make a hidden field. I'll call this one current_photo. And we'll give it a value of our current photo name. So the end user won't see this, but this way, even if the user doesn't give us a photo, we know what the old photo name was.
Echo PHP.
Sorry, that should say echo photo. So if the user didn't upload a photo, we'll just keep the old photo name. And that way it won't delete, we won't be overwriting or wiping out the old photo. So we'll use current underscore photo here. So now, Daniel, I'll let you give me the instructions. So what should we do? Actually, I better re-upload my athlete page. So if I refresh this now, we've got the name of the original photo here in a field called current photo. Okay. So Daniel, why don't you walk us through what we need to do here now so that we won't be wiping it out.
So
This is where we're checking for a photo upload.
we'd want to start up at the very, right, because as the photo is getting.
So in this case, the user gave us a new picture.
Right, so it would just be an else?
Yeah, we could just put in an else.
Or an, yeah, else if. Because would we want to do else if there's actually something in this photo that we got from the other one?
Well, it doesn't matter because if they haven't uploaded a file, let's say it's new and they just give us name, first name, last name, email, it'll just be blank and we can save a blank as the photo name.
Okay.
So in that case, we'll set our photo equal to $ post.
And current photo.
Right. I think this should work. So if they don't upload a file, just set the photo being equal to the current image name. So if the image name was Sanchez.jpg, it will stay Sanchez.jpg. We'll just update it. So we just added those 3 lines. We'll have to try it out. I think this logic should work. John, did you have a question? No, I saw a hand kind of. So we'll try it this way, and then we'll have to run through all of the different scenarios. Adding a new record, editing and uploading, editing and leaving the existing image.
Just one question.
Yep.
I don't think it's going to work, because isn't the else right above this part of the same if statement we just tried to, or is it somewhere else?
Nope, so this,
Somewhere else.
no. So that's outside. Let's try it. So now I want to change the first name and last name. Before, when I changed the first name and last name and hit save without a new photo, it removed my photo. So this time I'm going to leave the picture here. I don't want to change it. Just changing the first name and last name, we'll see what happens. So now the first name and last name got updated again. My photo's still here now. So that's a good workaround. So I have photos for 1, 2, and 3. I'm going to delete most of these records. Any record that I put in before today, I'm going to delete, except for this one, because I actually have a Jose Bautista photo, so I'm going to upload that one as well now. I want all of my records to have photos. So I'm going to edit. I'm going to keep the information, but I want to upload the Bautista photo. So now I've got pictures of all 4 of my records. I want to add 2 more. Who else have I got? Okay. I need help with the name, Indian cricket team fans. Starts with an M.
M-A-H.
M-A-H or M-O-H?
And no, M-A-H.
Yep.
E-N-D-R-A.
Like that?
Yeah.
Okay.
S-I-N-G-H.
Yep.
D-H-O-N-I.
D-H-O-N-I. Okay. And what's the country extension for India? Is it IN? Okay, that look okay? So that look okay? Okay. So I've got 5, and I added one more, which was and I have a Williams JPEG. So I have these 6 records, and I have a photo of each one of these people. So what I would like to do with these is add a gallery page to our application that will include our header and footer, and it will look something like this. Okay. So when I click, we'll get the full 600 by 600 photo, in effect. Okay. And we can use a few Bootstrap classes to lay out our gallery this way, and we'll include our header and footer.
Will there be a way to like organize it alphabetically or something, or are they just gonna leave whatever order they were at?
We could, yep, because if we look in our database, right? Let me just browse again. So how would you like to organize it? So you want it by, let's say, by last name, by first name. We could, when we run our query, we can sort based on any column, right? So what would you suggest we use, Josh?
Last name alphabetically.
Okay, so we can sort by last name alphabetically, sure. Okay. So now we can edit, we can change the photos, we can change the other information, or we can change both on any record. So I'm going to create one more page, and then we'll want to put a link to that page in our header. So let's open up our header.php. We still have time. We should be able to finish this. So inside of our header, after our new athlete link, I'm going to create a link to gallery.php. So the text of my link will say image gallery. So I'll re-upload the header. And now I've got an image gallery link here, which gives me my 404. Very strange. I tried changing my htaccess file to take out the path to my 404 page, and it actually didn't work. Student showed me on Friday, and his worked. Mine didn't for some reason, so I put it back.
Maybe it differs with the server as well.
Could be. Maybe he was using a different server. I don't know.
Yeah, localhost has many things.
Maybe he did. Maybe he was on localhost. So I did put my full path back.
Actually, even encryption runs on localhost.
So let's create a new PHP page. We can take out all this HTML because we're going to include our header has most of it and our footer has the rest of it, right? All of this lives in the header. So we'll delete that and we'll just put in a require once. And down at the bottom, but before my header, we want to specify the page title. So I'll just call this image gallery. Right? So that's a variable we're populating, so when our header loads, our header echoes out that variable right here. We did this 2 weeks ago. So I'm going to save this page as gallery.php. We'll put it on the server. Oops, this should say just be footer. Okay, looks like it wants OB start and flush. We'll throw those on. So there's no HTML at all on here yet. Okay, so we get a blank page with our header and footer. So what things will we need to do? Well, the first thing I'll do is I'll just put on a container div. So how will we print out all of these images? And then we want to make them small, and we want then to let the user click them to get the full image. So what will we need to do in order to do this?
Every image is a link.
Yep. So we're going to show each image. We're going to wrap it in an anchor tag. How are we going to get the images in the first place? What things will we have to do to get all of those images so that it shows like this?
Pull the names out.
Right, so the names, the image names live where? In the database. So step one is going to have to be even before that. Yeah, we're going to have to connect to the database, right? So that'll be step one. Step two is get the images. So now we'll need our SQL command. So we want to select, what column do we need to select from the database? Photo, but we actually also are going to want to print the name. So let's select first name, last name, and photo from athletes. And Josh, you suggested we order by last name, right? Order by last name. So there's our query. We don't need to use bind any parameters because we're not passing any information to our query. So we'll execute, whoops. So we'll prepare our command. We'll execute our query, and we'll store the results. So now we'll have all of our results. So how are we going to take that list of results and show the images? So we'll loop through the results and show each photo. So we'll need a for each loop, the way we've done many times before. Oops. So what do we want to print out on the page? What kind of HTML wrapping around our data? If you think all the way back to week 3, we talked about selecting data and we could wrap it in different ways, right? We've used grids, we've used drop downs. Well, what just for the image?
When you use the bootstrap and then use a div that sets the 4 columns.
Sure, so let's create a div around each image. We can give it this funky class of call large 3, call medium 4. We'll also center them. Text center. So that'll create a div around each image. How do we actually display each photo? What kind of tag do we need? Yeah, we need an IMG tag. So we're going to set the source to images. And now how do we get the photo name from our database query?
Row of photos.
So $row photo. Here, I'll put this on a new line so it's a little easier to read. Let's start it like this, and then we'll close the div. This should at least get our images showing up. Whoops, that needs to be a single quote at the end. So create a new div for every row, give it this class, and dynamically set the source of the image. We'll want to do a couple of other things. We'll want to make these links. We'll want to make the images smaller, and we'll want to print the athlete name below each photo. But this is a start. Let's just see how it works. Okay. They show up. That's good. They're in the order we wanted.
Looks like he's just swinging a bat at the guy on the side. Looks dangerous.
So,
I don't trust him.
in our image tag, let's set the width to 150. That'll make it smaller and it'll scale the height down as well. So add width equals 150. Okay, it's better. Now there are some classes, other classes we can use for formatting. Let's see. If we give our image, I'll just put this, move this to the next line. If we also give it a class of, what do I want? IMG thumbnail. Let's add this on. That'll add some additional formatting. I think it'll give us a little border around our images. So let's add that class that's in green. Yep, so we get a little bit of few pixels of padding and a border. Also, before our div is closed, let's add an H5 opening and closing, and we want to print out the athlete names in this tag. So in here,
Shouldn't that be a link as well?
we will make it a link, yes. We're going to print out first name and a space and the last name from our query. So I'm adding what's in green in there. So it should print the athlete name underneath the photo. And by giving it this text center class, that text should be centered underneath the image. Without the text center, it'll appear off at the left. So now we get this, we get the names showing up in our H5 underneath. We're almost there. We also want to make these links. So what I'm going to do is before my image, I'm going to give it a class of, I think I want the class of thumbnail, which is a bootstrap class. Yeah. And my href will be to the photo itself, to the original photo. So we're going to go, the href tag will go to images / and again we're going to append on the photo. So that I open my anchor tag there, and then at the very end of my div, I'm going to close the anchor tag. So I'll make both the image and the name. The whole box will be clickable. You can click anywhere, and it should load the full-sized image. I guess I could add an alt here. Alt equals, whoops. Enlarge. So I've added that a whole line 21 and this and a tag at the end. So both the name and the photo are inside of the link. The whole thing is clickable. So now that class, it gives us more padding. It gives us this little blue rollover effect, so the text gets underlined, the border turns blue when I hover, and if I click any, I get the full-sized image now. And so it seems to work in all cases. So now we have sort of our own mini version of a photo gallery. Now there's other things you can do. You can make it so it pops up. You know, you can use jQuery to pop up the images with previous and next. You can build a slideshow a bit beyond the scope of what we need to do. So for your assignment, what we did today is actually a fair bit more complicated than the upload piece of your assignment. For the upload piece of your assignment, all you really have to be able to do is upload and change this logo. So that's an image. right? So what you really just need to be able to do is have a browse page, and when I upload, you'll just change the name, you'll just change the image that's in the header. Okay, that's all you have to do for file uploads. You don't have to build an image gallery. One thing I'm going to ask, when students have had trouble with the file upload before in the assignment, what they tend to do is take these pages we built in class and just submit them as part of the assignment. I hope I'll give you some upload marks. I'm not going to do that. Okay, please don't give me the in-class files and say, well, I should at least get half marks for the file upload. Okay, you got to try and get it working in your header. So you don't have to build a gallery. You don't have to allow multiple uploads. You just have to allow the end user to put in a new logo in the header. Okay, so this is modifiable through an upload page.
In the second part of
In the second part. Yep, you didn't have to do that for this week, so you have 2 more weeks. Okay, so all of the files here, the stuff we've done, this is a fair bit more complicated, a fair bit more advanced than what you actually have to do for the assignment part with upload. It's fairly simple.
Do we have to let them change the logo? Is how we implement the uploading in a different way?
It should be part of the content manager, really, because again, the idea here is you want to hand this site off to a client, and they should be able to do this stuff on their own.
Okay.
Okay, so they redesign it, they get a new logo, they're not calling you, hey, Jesse, can you put my new logo in? No, they just click on logo and they do it themselves. Okay. Now, depending on how you're building it, you may find you have use for other upload functionality in the assignment, which is fine, right? Like you may do something similar to what we did in class where you have people or users and you want, or products, and you want to include an upload along with it. So you can do that in addition, but at the minimum, you should have that working. Are there any other questions about the uploading? Sorry? The gallery page? Sure. So building any gallery, a product gallery, it's pretty much going to be the same as this. Store the names of the photos in the database, and then loop through a query and create a new image tag for every record you've got. You know, a simple product catalog would look something like this one. Let's see, node. So something like this, right? We're selecting products. Every product has a name, description, and it's got the photo with it. Pretty common. Okay, that's it for today. I will put all the files on Blackboard.